How worried should we be? I mean, we're not in Putin's good books, are we?
We should be terrified, actually. I'm not trying to be sensationalist or anything like that, but you're right. We have successfully failed over the last sort of 20 years, since the end of the Cold War, 30 years, to take Russia seriously as a military threat, even as a sort of a country in itself. Famously, in the mid-90s, I think there was an Atlantic front cover that said Russia is finished as a world power. Well, isn't that hilarious in hindsight? As you say, we've allowed Russian companies to sort of monopolize much of the energy supply to Eastern Europe. We've allowed Chinese companies access to all kinds of infrastructure. And, of course, Vladimir Putin has managed to ferret about $200 billion out of the country in Western countries like London, other places, Germany, Switzerland, the United States. You know, they've had a great old time plundering the country, setting it all up for this situation. And now we find ourselves with hundreds of thousands of Russian troops on the borders of Ukraine. Not just Ukraine, on the borders of Poland, on the borders of Lithuania, and we're not prepared to do anything about it because Ukraine isn't in NATO. So we're actually prepared to just sacrifice a vast country, a very geostrategically important country, because it's not actually on the piece of paper that we don't actually have any sort of legal obligations to it, and we're just going to let, you know, for all the talk Putin has about NATO coming closer to the borders of Russia, we're going to let Putin potentially push Russia's borders right up to NATO.